Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Thursday, the 8th of October. And hope you're having a wonderful week, folks. Hi, I'm Paul, and I'll be your host this morning. This is your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. And in the news today, we have rumours about the All Blacks and the Hurricane. We got also rumours that Hurricanes players. Unfortunately, we have news of a jockey being put into a coma after a fall. We'll bring you up to date with the latest stage at the Giro d'Italia. Also, it looks like the Lakers are on track to win the NBA final. And we'll bring you also up to speed with how the tennis is going and also the Warriors' big push for a large membership base, or record membership base, I think it is, as well as updates from the IPL as well. So lots of sport going on. And in the basketball, the Lakers took it out 102-96 yesterday, meaning that they now lead the finals 3-1. They're just one more game away from winning that final. LeBron James led with 28 points and 12 rebounds. Jimmy Butler could not complete the heroics from the previous game and scored 22 points and 10 rebounds in that one. The Lakers took a small lead in the first quarter and held on to that throughout the game. It was they never sort of pulled away into a big lead, but they always kept their necks in front in that one. So yes, we'll have 2 days off now before the next game, which will be on Saturday, our time, at 2 p.m. Moving on then into that news in the racing. So Rosie Myers, who was a Central Districts racing jockey, unfortunately had to go into an induced coma. She fell off her horse after winning, and whilst it was difficult to see what they could do because of other horses in the way, it appears that she got kicked in the head by one of the following horses over the line. So we obviously wish her all the best and thoughts with her family in that one, and that hopefully she does fully recover quickly from that. I'm going to hand you over to Ashwin now. He's going to take us through our cricketing update.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning to all our viewers and listeners on the interweb. And the White Ferns have ended their tour of Australia on a record note. Yeah, after just one win of their T20 and ODI tour of Australia, the White Ferns have crashed to a record-breaking 232-run loss. Batting first, Australia racked up a massive 325 for 5, helped along by a dismal performance in the field by the White Ferns. They dropped 4 easy catches that basically set the platform. Rachel Haynes and Lisa Healy taking advantage of that platform, with Australia getting through to 144-run opening partnership. In reply, the White Ferns' batting effort was as bad as their fielding, with only 2 players scoring above 6. New Zealand ending up on 93 all out after just 27 overs. Moving along in Kolkata, Knight Riders and Chennai Super Kings have played out a tight one this morning, although it sort of fizzled in the end a little bit. Batting first, KKR scored 167 off their 20 overs, with Rahul Tripathi scoring 81 off 51, helping KKR through to the total. The total would have been even better had they not lost a clump of wickets in the last 2 overs, looking pretty well placed to score in excess of 180, but they just didn't quite get that momentum at the end. Chennai moved along at the asking rate, with Shane Watson scoring a 50, but the wheels fell off a bit as they got to the pointy end of the innings, ending up on 157 for 5. So that's meaning that they were 11 runs short of their target. KKR wrapping things up to take the win there. And in international cricket again, the pink ball will be kicking off the Australia-India series for Test, that is. Yes, the 4 Test series in Australia against India will start off with a day-nighter with the famous pink ball that will be in Adelaide. The long tour, which is on for more than 2 months, will most likely start off with white ball, though, Then the plan is for 3 ODIs in Brisbane, followed by 3 T20s in Adelaide before the day-night test starts, also in Adelaide. Now, all this is a schedule that's been waiting final approvals from the state governments. And that, Paul, is our cricket news for today. But obviously, join us tonight on Swinging from the Hips, and we will be talking IPL, the White Ferns Tour, and we'll probably go over that tour schedule in Australia as well. So we'll see you then. Nope, you're on mute, I think, Paul.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for that. And now, with our travel update and weather, and also birthdays as well, we'll hand you over to
yeah, thanks for that, Paul. Very good of you. Well, Auckland, welcome to level 1 lockdown. And I'll tell you what, even though we are in level 1, the traffic is moving very, very smoothly this morning. In fact, from Constellation Drive on the North Shore into the city, it's a 15-minute drive. And from Mobile Otia Valley, it's a 20-minute drive into the city. So you can plan your day relatively well in and around the city. And on top of that, a little bit of a grey start to the morning. But in terms of weather, we'll get a little bit of precipitation today, but it should be mainly dry skies in the city of Sales. And it's a great day to have a birthday. And we have got 3 here in front of you today, in front of me today, a former All-White, a former New Zealand professional tennis player, and finally a Rugby World Cup record holder. And that's where we start this morning. Mark Christopher Gwyn Ellis, born this day, the 8th of October 1971, is a New Zealand businessman, television presenter, and a former rugby union and rugby league footballer who played in the 1990s and 2000s. A graduate of the University of Otago, his primary business interests are in Charlie's, a juice company. He actually went on and sold that juice company, made quite a bit of money, and built a big flash house just out here in the Gulf over at Waiheke Island. So there you go. Having a juice company, you can't go wrong. And during the 1995 Rugby World Cup, he scored 6 tries in a game against Japan, which New Zealand won by a record score. I think it remains a record score at Rugby World Cups. So there you go. He holds that particular record. He was also a New Zealand warrior as well for a couple of seasons. So that's Mark Ellis. Staying with a Mark Nelson, born this day, the 8th of October 1977, as a former New Zealand professional tennis player. He was obviously played for New Zealand in 1997. He began playing Davis Cup for New Zealand. He took part in a World Group playoff tie against Spain in 1999, which the New Zealanders lost without winning a match. Ouch. At Islamabad in 2004, Nelson played the longest match in New Zealand's Davis Cup history against Pakistan's Asim Qusheri. The 5-set match lasted for 5 hours and 20 minutes. Oh, falling asleep. Anyway, Christopher John Killen, born this day, the 8th of October, 1981, in Wellington, is a former New Zealand international footballer. Killen grew up in Wellington and played for his club football for Miramar Rangers. Killen made his international debut for New Zealand during the 2000 OFC Nations Cup and was included in the New Zealand under-23 squad for the appearance at the 2008 Summer Olympics as one of 3 overage players. He was also named as part of New Zealand squad for 2002 OFC Nations Cup, 2003 and 2009 FIFA Confederations Cup, and the 2010 FIFA World Cup. I apologise to all those tennis enthusiasts out there, but 5 hours, man, that's a pretty drawn-out tennis match. But hopefully their birthdays won't be too drawn out today. Enjoy your days. Hope your families put on a nice birthday for you all. Back to you, Paul. I'll be back with league news shortly. Sun's starting to come out over there.
Oh, you're doing the old, what's his name? That sprinter guy. Anyway, that sprinter guy, the fastest man in the world. Anyway, Usain Bolt. That's there we go. Not a Kiwi runner, therefore we don't know them. Anyway, moving on then to the rugby, and there's rumours that TJ Perenara could move to Japan in 2021 as part of a sabbatical in a similar way that Bowden Barrett is doing so. And that would mean that he would miss the Super Rugby season, but be back for internationals. But that's obviously So we're saying that, who knows who knows what the structure of the season will be next year yet around all of that. Anyway, but yes, rumours linking TJ with Japan there. Also, rumours around how the All Blacks could be back home for Christmas. There's a suggestion that their last game could be moved 6 weeks earlier to start a week before the Rugby Championship is currently planned to happen. That would mean that the All Blacks and the Wallabies would play 4 games against each other on the trot, and would require either a bubble or some sort of quarantine exemption for the All Blacks as the gap between the last game in New Zealand and the first game in Australia isn't long enough currently for that to happen. So we'll await news on that and bring you up to date with how that all happens. Thank you, Aaron, there for updating us with the shower that's happening in Auckland. Dear me, there is some rain due later here in Hamilton as well today. So everyone get out early, I think, is the message if you want to get some outdoor exercise. I'm going to hand you back now to Stephen for the sport that just keeps on giving. It's our NRL update, just briefly, on the Warriors and a big membership push.
Yes, they have. Well, there's a couple of stories that we've been handed on this morning. Obviously, the Warriors looking to increase their membership, and also some big changes forecast at the Broncos, but it's with the Warriors. We're starting with in league news this morning. Much has been made of the struggles the Warriors went through to complete an NRL season like no other, but after gaining a new level of admiration on both sides of the Tasman for the way they dealt with the adversity, the Warriors want to pass that support on to grassroots. I know at the professional level, the financial hit can cost us, and I can only imagine what it means for the community-based levels. Chief Executive Cameron George told reporters, if we can generate revenue to put back into the local game next year that either offsets costs or makes it cheaper for families and kids to get involved in our great game, we're really keen to do so. The support and goodwill the Kiwi club received for their sacrifice in Australia has shone a light on the potential to grow their fan base. As a result, George has set an ambitious target of becoming the most supported sports organisation in Australasia for 2020. To realise this goal, the Warriors have launched a $10 supporter offer from October, with $5 from each purchase being returned to the Junior Rugby League across the country, as well to areas in Australia where the club has a close connection, such as Tamworth. A strong junior foundation is essential to any future success for the club, but the grassroots level across all sports, not just rugby league, has been left reeling by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Community sport relies heavily on Class 4 gaming money, gaming in pubs, clubs outside a casino, which pumps in more than $150 million annually into the national sports sector. With restaurants and bars closed during the lockdown and gaming machines turned off, community groups will see a much smaller return this year. Now on to a club who are having some issues of their own. I don't know if they'll be totally admired by their particular supporters, but it's important that they find a way forward. And of course, we're talking about the Brisbane Broncos. New Brisbane coach Kevin Walters has forecast big changes at the club, and there is a report that it could include the return of a former Broncos enforcer. Meanwhile, Souths are reportedly already eyeing a 2-year extension for Latrell Mitchell, but the reality of the salary cap could see them forced to make changes in the backline. The Brisbane Broncos desperately need experience and grunt up front. According to reports, Queensland reporter has said that could potentially come in the form of an old teammate. My mail, he has that at the Brisbane Broncos next year, a fit Maguire would be a huge boost for the Brisbane Broncos. He said yesterday Maguire is on contract at North Queensland until the end of 2022. In their current situation, it would be hard to see Brisbane able to afford Maguire, even amid reports that he will be dumped from the Queensland Origin side. However, incoming coach Kevin Walters is set to make big changes to the roster, with prop Matt Lodge in the firing line. So there you go. They are heading out and they're looking to do a lot of shopping are the Brisbane Broncos, and given their results this year, finishing stone last, first time in their history, you can't blame them. That's all our league news today, Paul. Have a great day, everybody. That sun's just starting to come up. I don't know where Aaron's got his rain from. Must be from the south side of Auckland. I'll be back tomorrow with more league news. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And yes, for more niche weather news, join us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for the morning sports briefing. And moving then over onto the tennis in Roland Garros, we have the semi-finals on the women's side of the draw. Swiatek and will be joining Podrosaca in the top one, and in the bottom one, the two seeds came through. The fourth seed, Kine won 6-4, 6-4, 4-6, 6-0, and Kitrova beat Sigmund 6-3, 6-3 to set up the second semi-final there. Over on the men's side of the draw, and currently Djokovic is playing Carreño Busta, the first seed against the 17th seed. It's Djokovic has gone 4-6, 6-2, and he's leading the third set 1-0 at the moment. He will face Tsitsipas, the fifth seed from Greece. On the lower half of the draw, Rafa Nadal finished his game winning 7-6, 6-4, 6-1 to go into the semi-finals. He finished that game at 1:30 a.m. in the morning local time, and he's the second seed in that one. He'll be playing Schwartzman, the 12th seed, who beat Thiemann, the third seed, 7-6, 5-7, 6-7, 7-6, 6-2. Three tie breaks in that one, so a real long game there in the to make it into the semi-final for him. But we're still on track currently for a Djokovic and Nadal final there in that one. Over in the rugby, sorry, I forgot to mention that we should find out by the end of the week as to whether the Springboks will be able to make the rugby championship. They need a decision from their government to be allowed to travel to compete internationally. So we'll see if they get to that one. The cash-strapped South African rugby really is struggling financially, as are most unions around the world. And they get as much as 25 million for their participation in the rugby championship, which would be important for them, obviously, in that one. Moving on then to the cycling, and in the Giro d'Italia, Filippo Gann has won his second stage after winning the individual time trial in stage one. He has now won his first ever road stage win. He was in a break with other riders, but used his powerful time trialing to stay away and be the last man standing. All the other riders got caught eventually. So, and a surprising win, as he's not normally known as a climber, and by topping the category one climb, he also took the climber's jersey. I don't think he'll be holding on to that one for that long. In the overall, we still have where is it? Sorry, Juan Almeida in pink, and he is 43 seconds again ahead of Pello Bilbao of Bahrain McLaren. There have been some questions. So yesterday we talked about the rider going off to hospital after a helicopter blew barriers into the road, and it appears that he may have broken his back, which is obviously, we wish him a full recovery from that one. Which yes, as I say, it's a very bad crash for him, and hopefully we don't have any mistakes like that happening again in the race. You're now up to speed with all the important sports news. Have a wonderful day, folks. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the morning sports briefing. Also, join Ashwin and the team this evening at 8 p.m. for Swinging from the Hip for your weekly cricket fix. And have a great day, everybody.